I think one of the areas that we fail men in is that in the church, in the recent history, is we've divorced salvation from a vocation.
Yeah.
And I think that that's been a big casualty for young men, particularly because young men do stuff, right? And so like the vocational aspect of our salvation is that God's created you for a purpose, and that purpose is to do stuff.
Right. I think there's always been a tension in church settings for the differences with male and female, and like for a long time, people just kind of tried to homogenize a church setting where you somehow balanced in the middle of masculinity and femininity, but it tended to lean more towards the feminine. And so men felt uncomfortable there. It's just about singing, not that I don't love to sing and all that, but I'm saying it just wasn't men doing men things. And I think it didn't attract men the ways things like this do and what you're doing does, because you're talking about things you enjoy doing. One of the things that a lot of the country music guys are like, well, we like to hunt and fish and and what they would call have fun, just being men that don't include sinful stuff, just fun stuff. And they're like, can we do that and still be believers in Christ and followers and impact people for good? Absolutely.
Yeah, it's I think one of the areas that we fail men in is that in the church, in the recent history, is we've divorced salvation from a vocation. Yeah. And I think that that's been a big casualty for young men, particularly because young men do stuff, right? And so like the vocational aspect of our salvation is that God's created you for a purpose, and that purpose is to do stuff.
Right.
It's not just to sit around like floating spirits in the ethos. Like you actually have a body. He says, I want you to cultivate. I want you to get married, be fruitful, multiply, subdue the earth, fill it up, have dominion.
Right.
But we don't teach the vocation part anymore because it's like come and consume worship and have an emotional experience. Not that the emotional experience is bad, but when you reduce everything to the emotional experience, then men don't actually have a thing that they're doing and building, and it's in our DNA. I think that's a casualty where young men now are kind of aimlessly trying to figure out what am I doing?
Right.
What am I supposed to do?
Right. Which explains what you just said explains a guy's popularity like Mike Rowe. Dirty Jobs.
Right.
He's very popular in culture. Why? Because he's the guy that talks about working and doing stuff. And people are, young men especially, like that. Now he's got this whole thing he's doing where they raise money for vocational training. And he's trying to say, look, this is what made our country so great. So he's not even doing things from a religious or spiritual aspect at all, but just he's speaking to men. Because of what you just said, that innate part of us, because we're made in the image of God.
What would you say the number one, maybe top one or two, maybe three? I bet we could guess them, but I'm just curious because you're specifically working with men. What would you say are the top things that manifest as issues that people are like, hey, I'm dealing with this? What would be your top three that they're dealing with?
Yeah, number one is probably porn, right? Yeah. That one surfaces all the time, but really shame. I'm just a lot of guys with just in this different levels of shame or feeling like they're failures. They've let their families down either financially or whatever it may be. But a lot of these things just dial back to issues they had as a child or a kid in their early life, and they never had anywhere to wrestle with it and wrestle through it. Yeah.
Yeah, now porn's interesting because think about what I would have said porn would have to be the number one.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing, and I always know it too. By the way, because we talk about that a lot on this podcast. Not a lot, but it comes up quite a bit. And you probably can testify this too. I'll show up at church, and I'll see somebody looking at me, and the way they're looking at me, I know they listen to the podcast. And not only do I know they listen to the podcast, I know they got something that they need to. Like it's like they're here because they haven't been there, but the Spirit's been on them about it. And I've had so many conversations in our church building on Sunday morning, someone showing up with a young man that's like, hey, I've been addicted to this. And you'll see a lot of times their wife be over there looking all like he just told her. And I think it's so interesting that's the shame component too, how one feeds the other, because the shame actually feeds into that. And then you get into the self-loathing, you get into the easy endorphin hit, right? But think about what that is, even like porn is you're bypassing all of your vocation, and you're going right to the end dopaminergic hit of what you get from pornography without any of the skin, literally no skin in the game whatsoever.
Yeah.
And you're fast, and then the shame heaps on us even more, and then you cycle it in that spiral. And so I think that like to ignite a generation of young men, I so encourage guys like you, and I think Joby. Did Joby write the forward for your book?
He did, yes, sir.
Joby, and I mean so many others that are doing work in this area.
Yeah.
It's encouraging.
Yeah.
And I love it that, like, you're an engineer, but you came to this idea that this is what God's calling you to do. And I think it's so good for our audience to hear, because you don't have to go through the route of being full-time ministry in a church somewhere. In fact, sometimes that can hinder what you're trying to accomplish in this, because it's easier just to be a guy. Like you said, I'm just a guy, which I think is really good. I love that we brought up the idea about porn and shame, because your whole thing, your whole brand is kind of based on this idea about a lion. And when I was reading your book, you talk about the lion's den, and it was really interesting. When I first saw it in the book, I thought you were going to go to Daniel, like surrounded by the lion's den, but you were talking about a den of lions, meaning like we're all together. Which I thought was really clever and good, because that's that idea. But we think about this whole metaphor in the Bible. So you got the Lion of Judah, which is this reference to Christ, which there was, I wrote down a couple of these. Hosea 5:14 is a prophecy about that, about the Lion of Judah. And then we see in Revelation 5 is the kind of the most famous passage, and Zach, you've read it many times before, about him being this lion, and the idea of the lion and the lamb, and how.
Well, it's crazy because he said, because the elders they're weeping because they're like, oh, nobody can open the scroll, and John the Revelator's like, we're hosed, man.
That's right.
And then they're like, no, don't cry. He said, turn around and behold the lion from the tribe of Judah.
Yeah.
So you had that image in your mind when you read that of this fierce. I always think of Aslan, from Narnia.
Exactly.
And he's like, is he safe? He's like, no, he's a lion, but he's good.
He's good.
And so, when he turns, it's so interesting the nature of Christ. He turns and he sees the lamb. It says, look at the lion of the tribe of Judah. But when he turns, he sees a lamb that had been slain, that's standing victorious and who is risen.
Right.
And
have you seen those 3D images where if you look at it one way, it's a lion, and then you turn your head a little bit, and it turns into the lamb? So somebody has captured that like in a 3D image, which is pretty.
But I mean, if you think about that though, that's like what a great teaching for men, because you heard the phrase toxic masculinity, right? So the answer is sacrificial love. It's fidelity.
That's right.
These are things we like. It's
integrity. That's what I want to make the point, and then I love about the book is, and because the other metaphor in the Bible, and by the way, it's even mentioned more. Proverbs 22:13, in talking about lions as enemies. Zephaniah 3:1-3, and then you get to the most famous one is 1 Peter 5:8, where he says, your enemy, the devil, roams like a roaring lion. So in biblical imagery, we see this idea of the Lion of Judah and the sacrificial love versus another lion who seeks to devour and lie and cheat. And then, the text from John 10:10, the thief who comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Everything he's about is a lie, is a fake. And when I think about pornography, that's the one thing that finally convinced me as a young man to stop, was because I realized this was a lie.
Right.
I had a real woman, who wanted to have sex with me. That's real. That I go to bed with at night, and I wake up in the morning and she's there, and that's real, and the relationship is good. And why would I trade that in for something that was so fake?
Right.
And wasn't real. And these people would never know me. I would never have anything to do with them. And so that picture, that idea of which, are you going to go with the true line, or are you going to go with the fake line? Because the fake thing is never going to lead you to anything good. But I just thought that image is such a powerful.
What it even says is he rolls around like a lion. So to me, that just shows like he's pretending.
There you go. He's
just pretending.
That's good.
And like, no, I want the Lion of the tribe of Judah. That's the one I'm aligning with. And then once I release that, he's got to get out the way. Because I don't know about you, I can dress up in a lion costume and go into the zoo. The real lion's going to beat me.
Or eat you.
or eat me. So I'm not going to mess with a real lion. And I'm just trying to get guys to see, hey, we have that power in, but it's just we keep pushing it down. It's time to let it out.
That's good.
Well, think about how lions are territorial. They have the territorial disputes, and the one I was just thinking about show the Ruth watches was popular when I was a kid was Lion King. And you got two lions, but one of them is just a pansy.
Yeah.
Scar. I mean, he's just like a Mufasa. That's the one.
That's
and,
right.
and his power over that other one is deceptive. He's hiding in the shadows. He's, but that's what he does.
He's trying to steal the kingdom. Same deal.
Same deal.
Yeah.
But the only antidote to him is another powerful lion that would take him out.
Right.
Which it was Mufasa till he kills him. And then Simba has to be raised up to be powerful enough to then come in. I think that's what you're talking about with that den of lions, and when you have other guys with you, that there's a lot of power in the multitude.